You're listening to Binging the Devil's Fruit, a One Piece manga read-through podcast where sometimes during the binge we take a break, kick back, and put on a movie or TV special. And sometimes we even bring along friends. Hello everybody, and welcome to Binging the Devil's Fruit. This is episode 22, where we review One Piece the movie Clockwork Island Adventure. I'm your host, John Mugiwara Jam, joined as always by my co-host, Jab Peanut.
Hey, and we got a third guest joining us.
Yes, for the very first time on Binging the Devil's Fruit history, we have our first guest, and our guest is, fittingly enough, named Luffy. How are you doing today, Luffy?
I'm doing all right, actually. Thank you for having me. I didn't realize it was you guys' first guest. I'm honored.
Yeah, I put out a little tweet on Twitter. It's like, hey, I know a lot of One Piece fans, and I wanted to see if I can get some guests because I'm going to be taking Austen on a 210 episode journey. Yeah. So maybe we should see if we had anybody who's interested. And surely enough, you had responded back when we were getting ready to do our next movie. Austen is now done with the East Blue arc, and we figured, well, I want to time the movies and everything around when when we get to when they were released during the manga, and surely Clockwork Island Adventure was Sanji's first movie, so made sense to do that right after. Well, I checked the wiki and they said, oh, it's after Rogue Town because they know about his bounty and everything. So I'm like, okay, then we'll wait till East Blue's done. So that's what we're doing today, everyone.
Awesome.
Well, first, Luffy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into One Piece? Like that, I don't want to jump right into the movie. I want to get your thoughts and everything before we do.
Oh, no problem. So. Hi, I'm Luffy. There's really not a huge amount to tell. I'm a big anime nerd, and I have been since I was a teeny tiny little baby who was watching Pokemon and didn't know that it was some sort of special type of animation that came from a completely different country. But around, I want to say 12 or 13 is when Shonen Jump started getting published here, and that is how I came across One Piece. And
yeah, we have a similar story.
Yep. And Naruto and One Piece became my teenage obsessions. And around the same time, I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos, which is a connective tissue disorder. And one of the things that it does is make your skin all squishy and rubbery. And so my friends started calling me Luffy.
Oh.
And that stuck with me for the next couple of decades.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. This is the first time I heard about this story. I thought you chose that name because you accidentally mispronounced it as Luffy.
Yes, that is part of it. We did originally pronounce it as Luffy, which I'm totally fine with it still being that way. But we thought that was funny, so it never really changed. But the original application of it was because... I have EDS. Everybody just thought that was humorous.
Oh, well, yeah, I that's definitely an interesting story. Mine's just I'm a One Piece nerd, and I can tell this story too. I don't know if I told this on the first episode. We had a very similar introduction to One Piece, but why I call myself Mugiwara JM originally. I had a even stupider username by the name of Sonic Godzilla Fan when I was a teenager.
You know that deep memory from that.
And then I found out way too late from my mother. Like my email was tied to Comcast, and when you change services, you lose access to your email. I found out way too late that we were switching over to that's a Verizon or something. I don't remember which. And she did not tell me in time to get my affairs in order, make a new email. So I said, oh my God, what do I do? I lost all my emails. And here's also the sad thing. That email account is the one where I asked Christine out in the first place. So I don't have the original messages where I asked her out. So what ended up happening, I was like, I was talking to my friends, like, oh my God, what do I do? And I was like, dude, why did you switch to Gmail? Because that way you can keep it. And then you can, even when you switch services, you never lose it. So in a panic, I had to come up with something. I'm like, something unique to me. And I was like, well, I was obsessed with One Piece, still am, and with Bleach at the time. So I went, fuck it, Mugiwara Shinigami. And I went with that. And now my family hates me because they hate having to remember that email to send things to, even though I have a new one that has my name. And then that just stuck with me. That became my nickname. But then I shortened it to Mugiwara JM, like towards my college years. JM's my initials. That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So we have very similar stories. I obviously not the other part you mentioned, but mine was just like I was just obsessed with One Piece and panicked.
I mean, I can empathize with having to come up with a username off in the fly.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta make something up so that you're gonna remember, but apparently that no one else is going to.
Yeah, my family just it's like they're like, oh, John, what's your name? Was it that Mugiwara? I'm like. And I thought Austen was bad with Japanese pronunciation. You're not even trying. Second of all, I've had my name email for ever since I was in college because I had to do it. I didn't want, like when I was trying to apply for jobs in animation and all that, it's like, I don't want you guys to remember that email. But anyway, yeah. So that, and you got into One Piece around the same time as you and I did. Did you start with the 4Kids dub or did you start with the manga? Like
I started with the manga.
I was introduced to it through the manga, but I didn't start actually getting into it until I got to the 4Kids dub, and I didn't know that it was an edited version. Because I had watched all the episodes that were running. I was like, well, I want to watch the rest, and apparently they said, well, it's airing in Japan and it's subtitled, but it's not edited. I'm like, what do you mean not edited? And I watched them like, oh god, what did they do to this show?
Yeah. I actually was familiar with the fact that it was that like 4Kids did what they did by that time, so I never got into the dub that came here, because I was some kind of shocked when I was young and I was first getting into like anime and stuff. I had watched the 4Kids Yu-Gi-Oh, and then read it.
Yeah, what a contrast.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's super familiar with the Yu-Gi-Oh manga versus like the edited version of the show, but the early manga, especially like the first bit before like the whole Duel Monsters thing, is incredibly violent and like very different than the power of friendship thing that 4Kids was doing.
Yeah, I think in like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zero manga, they call it like the Pharaoh actually kills people.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
he totally kills people.
Yeah, I saw one on video where one page where this guy threatened Yami with a gun, but Yami had a lighter on the guy's hand, and also it was covered in gasoline. So if he pulled the trigger, the recoil of the gun would cause the lighter to fall on the gasoline and light him on fire.
He was pulling some jigsaw shit in that first like arc. Like that's exactly what happened. I know exactly the chapter that you're talking about. Yeah, he had did setting himself on fire, and that was fun. That was fun to read as like 13-year-old.
Oh my god!
Hello, I would like to play a game. All right,
I'm
everyone.
sure that hasn't had any lasting effects on me or anything.
I wasn't aware that you weren't finished yet. Continue.
Oh no, go ahead.
So I was just thinking to transition over to the movie. So I know Austen hasn't seen any of the One Piece movies prior because this is his first foray into One Piece. Have you seen any of these movies, Luffy?
I know that I saw one of them when I was a kid, but I cannot recall which one. It definitely was not this one. I want to say that it was possibly the first one. Because yeah, my cousins were also like really into anime and stuff, and one of them had gotten a hold of a sub of one of them films, but I do not remember which one.
It was probably from Kaizoku fan subs, which is where I went to too.
Yeah,
they're not around anymore. After Funimation did the simulcast, they went under and they just fell in obscurity. Plus, Funimation also got the subs faster, so it's like, well, why are we even around anymore?
Fair.
And also, they were cracking down on piracy a lot harder after that point too, which is fine. I was fine with like One Piece being sub because it wasn't being offered legally, but then when it was, it's like, yeah, what's the point?
Yeah.
All right, so we did the first one earlier, and I've actually seen all of the One Piece movies except for the weird 3D ones that they did. Like there's like one called Mugiwara Chase. I'm not sure if I want to review that one, but knowing Austin's tendency to like want to watch the worst shit possible, especially since he started the podcast about it, he probably wants to make me at some point. But this one, but yeah, go ahead, Austin. Sorry.
Yeah, I remember my sister doesn't trust me to pick movies anymore after I made her watch that weird anime fly movie that she absolutely hated.
I thought it was because you bought 8 copies of Donkey Ollie and hid them across your house.
Oh, that too.
Has she still not found the rest of them?
Nope, they're hidden. They're lost in time.
Well, now it's been so long you don't remember where they are, so they're going to jump scare you now. But yeah, well, why don't we get right into the movie? So this is movie 2, Clockwork Island Adventure. They said that the first one was the only one that was done traditionally animated, but I watched the first 3 minutes of this to check and make sure it worked okay. This, if it wasn't done traditionally, it certainly looks like it was. I think they've like put a filter over it to make it look like it was. And I've seen all of the movies, but I have not watched 1 through 7 since I was still in high school because they were only through the fan sub sites. And to this day, Crunchyroll has not dubbed them. I actually remember asking Adam Sheehan, who used to work at Funimation, if they were ever going to do the old movies. He said, "We're kind of focusing on catching up to the series now, but then when that's all done, ask us then." Well, 1, he doesn't work there anymore, and number 2, now they're in Wano, and Wano's still going in the anime. So I'm like, okay, you guys are caught up. What's good?
Yeah, and to be fair, when we're all caught up, when it's done or whatever, it's still going. It's going to go for like 10,000 years at this point. So
yeah, even though we're in the final arc of the anime now, of the manga at least, the anime is still in Wano in Japan, and the Crunchyroll dub is actually in the beginning of Wano now. So they're coming up, and they put them out really fast too.
Yeah,
but. I keep saying we're going to start, but we never do. So this is a Clockwork Island Adventure, and I think this was one of like the 3 films that was double billed with Digimon films back then. Like after the fourth one on, they get their own features. So this one, like the first one, is like shorter than the other ones are. It's only like 40 minutes because it was double billed with the Digimon movie.
Damn.
Like the 3 that they combined into the American release, they were actually double billed with One Piece at the time because Toei did both series. So, does anybody have any expectations going in to the second movie, or should we just get right to it?
Oh, we can get to it.
All right, then let's do that. And we have returned from watching One Piece the movie 2, Clockwork Island Adventure. So let's just hop right in. What did everyone think?
Well, sorry, Luffy. I guess you go.
Oh, go ahead.
Well,
no, I liked it.
Yeah, for basically a featurette movie. I liked it better than the first movie, mainly because it didn't have any Native American racial stereotypes.
Yeah, that was Austen. Yeah, Austen. Since you, I think on our last one we did like a summary of like the plot, like, and I generally like when you did on your podcast. So did you want to like summarize everything that happened? Actually, you both can if you want.
Yeah, it starts off with a beach and fan service galore with Nami and Sanji.
Yep.
Nami's Luffy is just filling away with some wind-up toy while Nami is just sunbathing with the buns out and the tits out, and Sanji's just getting all up on that, rubbing lotion on her back.
Lucky son of a fucking bitch.
So soon puts up to the bunch of sandwich on his back, and Usopp, like he said in the commentary, Luffy, he had basically a 1920s swimsuit attire.
Yeah, he had like the rompers they used to wear back then.
The little one piece.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, and Luffy sees the golden mare just sailing away, and that's when they realize it's being stolen. Like, everything's on there. The clothes, the equipment, the weapons. And so, how do they catch up to it? By assaulting a wedding,
which is just so beautiful.
Assaulting a wedding, and we never see the victim, so they're probably dead.
Oh my god!
The bride, the groom, and also the priest.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just stole the entire wedding party's clothing and a swan boat, which why does a wedding need that? Like, is that what they're going to go off into like the sunset in instead of a limo? That sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I imagine the ceremony was on a boat, but they had to take the paddle boat to go between the reception and everything. But still.
But yeah, so they follow the thieves to a island in the middle of the ocean, as are most One Piece settings. Except that this island has a long spire going up into the sky that is very Jack of the Beanstalk-esque. Like, you can't see the top of it from where we are on the ground. It is buried in the clouds. And
Did we mention the Thief brothers yet?
Oh,
Yeah.
no. They encounter these thief brothers, Borodo and Akisu, who's a little boy, who boast about how they're going to be the greatest thieves of the sea.
But not before tricking him into thinking he was a drowning child.
Oh, yeah, to rob this stuff.
very smart little kid.
Or dumb pirates.
Both.
Yeah, bit of both. So, let's see. And so, yeah, here's Clockwork Island. Other citizens are being held captive by the Trump pirates. Oh, that
Yeah, we know.
aged well.
Yeah, the Trumps were not really relevant in the news at the time when this was a thing. Plus, also, I mean, Oda is familiar with Japanese media in Hollywood and all that, but I seriously doubt he could have ever predicted how relevant that name would become now. It's also just funny in hindsight, considering everything. That's all I'm going to say.
Like, they've always been a famous family, but they had not yet become a notorious family internationally.
Outside the city of New York and state of New York and New Jersey yet, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and during the commotion with the Trump pirates, Nami is kidnapped with
By a
pennies
naked
of-
woman.
Yes.
Oh God! By a naked woman who's just bathing in the front mast of the ship.
Yeah, and like this was a movie that was built with Digimon, and they just showed her fucking cheeks, like not even
my
censoring.
God.
They were just floating in the water, double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon. Hella ass. The sun is out.
As long
Looking
as
like a double-wide surprise.
sorry. Oh, as long as there's no nipples, like the Japanese just like don't seem to care. No
Yeah,
female
as long as there's no
presenting
nipples or fagoots, they're good.
Yep.
Yeah, they're more relaxed on nudity compared to American media.
Yeah, because like in the Japanese culture, like nudity is considered like it's like symbolic of life. As long as you're anatomical with it and you're not trying to sexualize, it's whatever.
Yeah, like
Yeah, and it's the opposite with violence from what I've seen. Like, if a media has graphic violence, it's covered with a bunch of warning labels.
Yeah, and they have like a big thing about decapitation. Like even okay, so you guys know my favorite video game of all time is Medieval. Like, and the main character is a skeleton with no jaw and one eye, and all the cutscenes they censor him with a knight's helmet. And in the game, every time you start a level, they have the helmet on and you have to take it off. So they're really, really sensitive about depicting corpses.
Which is also why Mortal Kombat is banned in Japan.
it's also interesting that while they're okay with the nudity, sex acts are still censored. You can't buy uncensored porn. They're not legally allowed to sell it.
Yep.
And like here, as long as you're over 18, you can purchase all the dicks you want. Doesn't matter. So yeah, that's always fun.
And don't you dare get caught with drugs, or you are done forever.
Yes.
Go to Japan, okay.
Especially if you're in Japan. They'll erase you from an entire video game franchise. But anyway, wow, I did not expect this conversation to be the one we talked about. We talked about what was even that woman's name? All I remember is her fat ass.
Honey Queen. I have the One Piece wiki open.
Oh, her name was Honey Queen?
Yes, the Honey Queen.
Yeah, Honey Queen.
And yet she didn't have a bee themed devil fruit.
No, it was she had like water powers. She could turn into water.
Yeah, well, we haven't gotten to that part. We've seen her do it, but she never explained that yet. So, and then Nami does get kidnapped, and the fact that I even have to announce during the commentary that start a counter presents a problem that these movies have. But that's neither here nor there for the moment.
So once she gets kidnapped, that's when we are introduced to a character called Bear King Sama, who is the leader of this group of card-themed pirates. So why they mixed the cards, like the suit theme and the bear theme, I don't really know. But of course, like most of us in this world, he takes one look at Nami and decides that he wants to wife her.
Understandable.
And, I mean, who can blame him? We've seen her. We have eyes. And so we have her, of course, believing that her crew will come and save her, as they always do.
She's right.
Yes, and cutting between that and the crew in question trying to make their way up the booby-trapped stairs to the floating island. Well,
wading through the booby traps to get to the boobies. Understandable.
Yes, exactly. You want to go, Austen?
Yeah, and Shanti kicks away these boulders that are part of the traps, but his feet get badly injured doing it because he's wearing sandals instead of his shoes.
Yeah, that probably has a lot to do with like the power in his kicks because like, he's guarding his feet from like scrapes and all that, but have we also addressed that like he was wearing the groom's outfit, but he was also wearing sandals somehow?
Oh,
yes,
right.
I did ask that.
I guess it was a beachside wedding on a budget. No, don't pay with the headphone wires.
A budget that did have enough, but somehow was short on the shoes. Because the tux probably cost way more.
Yeah, sorry about that. Buddy's just hiding underneath a table, strapping out my headphone wire.
As you do when you are a cat.
Yeah, and Joe doesn't have his 3 swords as they're on the ship.
Yeah, because they didn't just take the Going Merry. They took like their stuff because like they were chilling out, maxing, shooting some b-ball by the beach.
Cool.
When a couple of guys up to no good started taking their Going Merry to the neighborhood. All right, I don't want to run that in the ground, but yes, their stuff was taken.
Yeah, and Barodo and Akeshu. Apparently, Barodo said he found Akeshu as a baby, and ever since they considered themselves as brothers and fellow thieves. And they meet this couple who explained that they this big diamond clock, which is supposed to be the island's treasure, they built for the son when he was born, which is really overkill.
Yeah, and Bear King was fascinated that they were able to do this. So what naturally does an evil pirate want to do? Oh, hey, some mechanics. Let me have them build a giant cannon.
Yeah.
So he's enslaved this. So like in the Gonzok OVA, he enslaved this entire island just to make. Well, we'll see it when we get to it. But yeah, they basically they're like a fun-loving island that also is like populated by mechanics, but they're being forced to make a cannon for him. And they all
have really fancy hair.
Yeah, they're like ice cream swirlies. Like that one of them saw Mr. Softy and was like, you know what? I think I'm going to do that. And then the whole island imitated that fit.
Do you have Mr. Softy up in Ohio, Luffy?
Do we have Mr. Softy?
Yeah, it's like a ice cream truck chain.
The franchise, no, but do we have soft serve ice cream? Yes, absolutely.
yeah, I was gonna say like I could have sworn I saw a Mr. Softy truck like when I was going down towards Florida last month, but that must have been my imagination. But either way,
I mean, it's totally possible. I honestly haven't seen like an actual ice cream truck in years.
All you need to know is like the mascot is like this ice cream dude head, and like his hair is the squirrely ice cream.
Yes. But,
yeah, and
go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so Nami tries to stall for time by playing poker with
strip
the pirates.
Poker. Yes.
Strip poker. Oh my god.
Yeah, she was playing strip poker, but she was not losing.
No,
because one of the villains, what was his name?
I'm just calling him Gasman until I can find his his logical name? I know he has it.
Right here on the Ricky.
Skunk One.
The Skunk One.
Okay.
Skunk One.
Straightforward.
He was complaining about how he was if he plays again, he's going to be naked. So she was playing strip poker, but I think he was the only one that was still in each hand.
Yeah, and let's see. Hey, hang on, I lost my place.
So, if I recall, our heroes, they get to the town. They get some new outfits. At least 3 of them do. Luffy doesn't bother with it.
You'll come to see Austen in the movies. He just changes the color of the same outfit he's wearing as time goes on.
He just, he very rarely gets new fashion. And they make their way towards the big Trump Castle, or I wish they had called it a tower. It would have been so much more fun.
Yeah.
It was a tower.
It was a tower. So as they enter, they get into a hallway that is very much like the Star Wars trash compactor scene, but from the ceiling. And Luffy is trying his hardest to hold it up, and so is Zoro, until another dude called Pin Joker, whose entire theme is that he sucks at remembering idioms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's bad. He's bad. He always remembers one part of a proverb wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just...
apparently fought Zoro at one point, but Zoro doesn't remember, because why would he? And attempts to poison him once again. So Zoro is now knocked out of our lineup. I forgot that Sanji was knocked out right before that. And because he's not wearing shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of that, his feet are really damaged and bleeding.
His athlete's foot caught up with him.
And essentially, as the bad guys capture our crew, they hang them up crucifixion style.
Yeah.
On putting them on display, and they're getting knocked down one by one. So, do you want to go with what happens to Usopp then, Austen? Or John?
Oh God, this scene was horrible. Like when Skunk One is prepared to gas him because his gas can paralyze, Usopp climbs onto his back, and as he prepares in the air by his own flatulence, falls right into Usopp's mouth, causing his stomach to bulge up. Oh Jesus. It was awful.
It was probably the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in the One Piece anything ever.
So if we didn't explain properly, this character's theme is obviously it's farts, it's gas, and his suit is built so that he releases it from the bottom, a la like a jetpack valve, or however you would like to put it. But
yeah, it's not even devil fruit related either. It's like he's weaponized his own flatulence and he stores it like a gas bag.
It's a big, so Usopp essentially puts his mouth on a big metal asshole and flies away with this man. And of course, that is what KOs him, because why wouldn't it?
Man, the one time it's actually appropriate to say it, I don't want to say it, but fine. That ass sure can fart.
Oh my God.
God,
yeah.
I like to say that, like, I like to reference that phrase when to disturb Austen, but now I even feel dirty saying it after watching that scene. It was so disgusting. I forgot all about it, and I probably can understand why now.
Icky.
Yeah, it's so disgusting. Like I'm laughing, but like when I was watching, I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" It really was rough to sit through. But thankfully, it wasn't around for very long. They kind of like they didn't dwell on it. They moved on, as I'd like to.
Okay, so that is all of our crew members down. But at this point, while Luffy is left holding up the room that is trying to squish him into, a little pancake man, Bushido, or was Bushido?
It was Borodo, I think it was called.
Borodo, that's what it is, yeah. Sorry. he decides, he admits that he essentially lured them to this island because he wants to defeat the Trump siblings, which they kept going back and forth in the subtitles, and I couldn't really quite tell exactly what word they were using between crew and siblings. So I'm not actually sure if these characters are meant to be related, like biologically, or if they are just a crew.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can check the wiki for them, see if they actually are related. He
admits that he tried to lure the Straw Hats there because he believes that Akisu is from this island, and he wants to save, his people and return him to his family of origin. So he goes up the stairs by himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's planning on, while the King Ken is completed, and he's planning on using it to execute the Straw Hats, Bodo appears in the elevator and has like a bunch of dynamite strapped to him like a suicide bomb and plans to blow him up. But King Bears points out how dumb that plan was, because not only would that kill them all, but also destroy the wind-up key to the island that's keeping it all together. So he's in a no-win scenario there.
Precisely.
But just when things seem hopeless, is Kisu catches up, and he gets smacked by one of those, by I believe it was Pin Joker. Luffy sees the beat up little wind up toy Kisu has fall, and as Sean pointed out, when Luffy is pissed, that's where he finds his true strength, as he just starts lifting up a bunch of rooms in a tower that causes a hole tall enough for him to escape out of.
I was half expecting like somebody who was like just innocently living in these quarters to just fly out. It was like, oh, I knew I should have waited to go to the bathroom later.
Like my man just destroys this entire place. And then of course we have the crew has now gotten back to Then Luffy takes one of the pieces of dynamite, the sticks of dynamite, and lights it just because he thinks it seems interesting. Then he immediately becomes bored with it and tosses it aside. But
little does he know that it lit up all the other dynamite he had, and apparently at first it looks like it blew up the crew, but it frees them, like they actually survived that blast.
Yeah, just the aftermath of the elevator being blown up was just enough of a shock to like knock their shackles free, I guess. Mm-hmm. Well, they have plot armor, so they'll be fine.
Yeah. So, of course, they emerge from the dust and the, debris, and Usopp manages to find his way up to the Going Merry, retrieving Sanji's shoes and Zoro's swords and tossing them down. Now we have the part where all of the characters break in to fight their respective villain of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I would say that they're the characters that were kind of hinted at earlier. So we have Zoro and Pin Joker, and Sanji, and I believe the character's name is Bojack. He is a big, chonky man who could roll into a little spiky sonic ball. Mm-hmm. But also has a hat that's a pig, which, again, like an animal theme doesn't make sense to me. Why not go with, like, a hedgehog or...
Sonic the Pig Hog.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely.
Sonic the Hog. Just remove the hedge.
And he's a form of hog, I guess. You're right.
Yeah, Sanji does best to decimate him if Kicks now that he has his shoes on, and Usopp defeats the skunk one, because right before he fought, he does shoots one of those explosive slingshot ammo at him.
Right up his pooper.
Right up the duper.
Yeah, and Zoro manages to decimate a Pinchoker as well, while Luffy battles Bear King, who ate apparently the stone food that makes him rock hard and tough.
He says that his body is like steel, and at one point his arm is superheated, and I couldn't tell if that was that he grabbed something hot and superheated it like steel and then was fighting Luffy with it, or if he was like producing the heat, which doesn't make any sense with the devil fruit.
Austin, what did you say? What did you say about Bear King's power?
It makes him rock hard. Oh my god!
Sorry about Luffy. I didn't mean to scare you with that one.
No, that was beautiful.
Yeah,
ever since I discovered the "Let Them Come" meme, I've been obsessed with it.
Yeah, Boruto manages to get the cannon, tries to shoot Bear King, but misses. And Bear King gets out of piss and bashes to Boruto, but Akesu, surprisingly, it just leaps into the way and is shot. And this, of course, feels a fire on Luffy, who just decimates Bear King. And when he gets the cannon, tries to shoot at Luffy, what does he do? Catch the fucking bomb, twists it in his leg and his arms, I think.
Yep.
And he just flings it right at him, just decimating him.
He drove it back into his chest like a drill bit, and then made a joke about screw.
Well, that was actually me. I was like, well, if Funimation had dubbed this, I would have fully expected them to write Luffy going, well, you know what, Bear King? Screw you! Because 4 kids would not be bold enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the naked soap lady, Honey Queen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost called her Honey Trap. That wasn't right.
Honeybee. I mean, Honey Queen, yeah.
She sees that everyone else is getting busted up, so she turns into... It's supposed to be water, but it's pink, and that just really kind of is... She looks like bubble bath. And
according to the wiki, they say she's supposed to be like based on like royal jelly or something.
Oh. And attempts to escape through the pipes, but Nami manages to catch her in a jar and tape her in.
And I immediately in my head,
Rainbow Dash feels.
No, Austen, shut up. What I was going to say was like immediately as soon as she did that, the little jingle from the Wind Waker when you catch a fairy in a bottle played in my head.
I thought you were shoving at my foot, mister.
Yeah.
You didn't like that joke?
No, good boy, buddy. Good boy. You deserve that.
So, but the problem is it also destroys the key to the island and it starts crumbling, but not before it unveils a diamond heart that starts to play a song.
Well, actually, that happened after the whole thing came down.
It was afterwards. So
which is wild to me. It was like everything else fell down, but that was still working.
The whole island, as it's like crumbling down, we see all the villagers. Apparently, I don't know. They knew this was happening. They're all standing on like the shore, like the edge, with their little backpacks, which at first I thought were like supplies, until they jumped and we saw that everybody had like parachutes. So they were parachutes. That is when the song starts playing that we see. It's the fancy diamond clock that everybody had mentioned. And it plays the same tune as Akisu's music box, which of course they make the connection that the soft serve couple are Akisu's parents, and she had sent him away Moses style on the sea to try to prevent him from being put under the Trump pirates regime. Which I still don't think this is the greatest plan for if you're going to give up your baby. You have to hope that somebody else will find that child.
I mean, we were watching The Prince of Egypt, but I only saw the first 10 minutes, so I don't know how that ended. I was desperate.
Thank God.
Well, I'm not sure that it would have worked out super great for everybody who's not Moses. That was wild. He managed to... he managed to somehow, as a baby, find his way to like a queen and like a whole life of royalty, but as an adult got lost in the desert for 40 years. Interesting.
Yeah, but this kid is when he was a baby, before he turned 1, he stole his first formula.
So, go ahead, Austen. You can finish that out.
So yeah, Akesu and his family reunited, and Boruto decides to set sail, thinking Akesu would be happier with his people. But surprisingly, Akesu snuck on board and insisted that they're thief brothers for life.
Which was actually very sweet.
Yeah.
And as I pointed out in the commentary, he don't know those people that his brother tried to leave him with. He just met them. Like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, he probably figured like, well, it's nice to see my family, but like he probably wants to go back and hang out with Boruto, which I guess they supported, even though he's going to be living a life of crime.
There's a bunch of pirates everywhere. Like, I feel like crime is just not even seen as something that bad in the One Piece universe.
Depends on who you ask.
It also depends, I think, on who's doing it.
Yeah, and what you're doing.
Yeah, if a villain does the same thing that the Straw Hats do, the bad guy, the villain, is going to be treated badly for it, even if it's the exact same action. But that's how being a protagonist works anyway. So...
And I guess that was the end of the movie.
It was. Mm-hmm.
So now that we've basically reviewed it, what's... actually, before we give our final thoughts, we have to go through our categories. And
that's right.
And I don't really have a hard rule on this, but I would prefer if nobody like stole the same answer, because like once someone claims something, that's their answer. You have to come up with another one. So the first category is who was the MVP or most valuable pirate, or this could be just your favorite character. So Luffy, because you're our guest, you get to go first.
I'm going to say the MVP this time around was not a pirate. I think it was a Kisu. I think that he...
you stole my answer.
Sorry. I think that little kid pulled it out. He was smart enough to think to make himself like a bulletproof vest out of just a piece of scrap metal. He was just very... he was a very cute character. And I thought that he did a really good job of growing up and maturing as a character within such a limited time slot. And so I like that.
Yeah, he's not like on the level of that one kid from the Gonzak OVA, but he was pretty cool.
Mm.
And he was willing to take a freaking bullet.
Yeah, Madaka. That I looked her up while we were talking. That she doesn't have that for her, but she does have like putting on armor and like fighting a pirate hoarder herself. Mm-hmm. Like she's not even from the official anime, but she's still the coolest non-canon kid.
Mm-hmm.
So Austen, I guess I'll just let you go next before I pick one.
Okay, let's see. Since Luffy stole my answer, I'm gonna have to go with Luffy.
Mm.
I mean, no surprise, cause not only was he able to bust out of a collapsing room trap and just shoved up a bunch of stories worth of rooms, he defeated the Bear King with his own secret weapon, like in the Gonzak OVA.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like, holy shit.
It's still wild that I have to compare this to Gonzak, but Gonzak still has like Luffy's like hardest defeat ever. He threw a guy into a nuke.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I still remember that. Like the nuke was fired. It's like, no, I'm throwing you into it, and that was the end of him.
And that is how you end a war.
Yeah, throw the guy who fired the nuke into the nuke. It's like, you know what? You want to fire the weapon? Well, you're gonna be the first one to take the bullet. You'll be the test dummy.
That's great.
So that means it's me. Gonna be honest with you, I'm actually gonna surprise you both. I think it was Sanji.
Oh.
Because like Sanji had a handicap. He did not have his shoes for whatever reason, but once he got them, he made quick work of probably one of the most forgettable villains in any of these films. Like it's like oh, it's not because he was weak. He just didn't put his shoes on. So yeah, like I think he really cleaned. Is it too late to change my answer? Actually, wait.
What was the answer gonna be?
I'm changing it to Usopp. The man swallowed farts and lived
God.
to tell the tale.
Jesus Christ.
He swallowed farts and lived.
He sacrificed so much for us.
He literally ate the booty to save us all.
Oh no.
So I'm Sanji, I'm sorry. I'm changing my answer to Usopp. He literally we're joking, but it's like he weaponizes like farts. That was poison gas. He just like had a theme for making it fart related, but regardless, he swallowed them and lived. That I think deserves all the credit in the world. Okay, so that was our most valuable pirate. Who does everyone think was the least valuable pirate here?
I got an easy answer to that.
I was gonna give it to you anyway.
Honey Queen.
Hey, what a loser.
Yeah,
because she didn't really do much in this movie when fighting against the Straw Hats, and she fucking tried to flee and ended up in a jar.
Yeah. You're going in a jar. Yeah, she really. I actually even forgot she was around for a while. So yeah, she really was fucking worthless.
At least she gave us the booty.
Unfortunately, Oda's sexism shining through.
Well, I mean, there's two characters who provided the booty, but I don't like the other way.
Okay, and who's next?
I'll let Luffy go because I have not picked one yet.
Actually, Austen, this time we were even because you stole mine. I hate to say this, but because I love her deeply, but Nami, because she was really sidelined for the majority of the plot. She really didn't have a lot of agency, and I think that it's wild how often this girl is like kidnapped and I'm expected to think that she can't get herself out of it. Like, she's incredibly crafty. I think that she could manage. And she did prove it by stealing their money. Exactly. Yeah. Like, girl, just run at that point.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen her fight in a manga yet.
No, give it time. Give it time.
Okay.
It definitely takes time.
That's coming. So don't worry. I my answer while I was listening to you guys. I didn't have one, but I immediately thought of it because I mentioned in the commentary. Boruto. He's like, I want you to defeat the Trump pirates, but I'm not going to help you out of a jam to help you do that. Yeah, like he was just like, I guess you guys are gonna get squished, and it's up to me now.
Yeah, that was gonna be my second pick.
I'm gonna take your ship, and I understand that taking the ship to lure them to the thing, but I did not understand trapping them in the crushing hallway and then not helping them while telling Luffy and Zoro to their faces, I lured you here to help you defeat the Trump pirates. By the way, though, good luck getting out of the crushing hallway.
Yeah, like very, very not helpful.
Like, he literally proclaimed that he was worthless by doing that. So, easy pick for me. All right, so the next is, what is everyone's favorite scene in the movie? And Luffy, since you're our guest, I'm letting you go first. The best scene in the movie. Or your favorite. It doesn't have to be the best scene.
I liked... out of all of them, I think that I liked the scene in the crushing hallway when Zoro like leaps in front of Luffy and takes all the like darts.
The fart darts.
Yeah.
That's what I should have called them. Shit, they're fart darts.
My God.
I thought that was nice. I think that it was even a little shippy. I just think that Zoro is such a badass when he like essentially uses himself as a human shield for...
Oh, definitely.
It's like, it's hot. I like it.
Yeah, so it's how devoted he is to his captain.
Yeah. He does it with other crew members and stuff, too. It shows that he's just he's a stand-up guy.
Except Sanji.
Except Sanji. He thinks Sanji can protect himself, I think.
Well, they also that Austen has seen like little bits and pieces of it, but as the series goes on, Zoro and Sanji fucking hate each other.
And you must know that they are in fact the most popular ship in the fandom.
Yeah, because of that.
Yeah, like the more characters hate each other, the more the fandom wants to see them hate fuck each other. And
Exactly.
it's never been more true, I think, in any fandom ever than Zoro and Sanji.
Honestly, I'm okay with that ship. If it's well written, it's fun.
Especially if they're still arguing while they're fucking.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Oh, that is some real hate fucking right there.
You better believe it. All right, so Luffy went. So best scene for me. I'm gonna go with Luffy chucking 7 stories over his head.
Oh, that was my scene. Oh my god.
I was legitimately glad that there was nobody currently occupying those rooms, and because I would have been like very sorry for, even if it was just a grunt. It's like he was just taking his shit and now he's going out the window. Sorry, Austen, you gotta pick your own.
Okay, guess I can't really think with my head, so I'm gonna have to go with my dick for my favorite scene. And
That could be
that
anywhere.
is when Nami is sunbathing and takes her bra off so Sanji can rub sun lotion on her back, and it's just working out shirtless, working up a sweat. That's my
pick
favorite
one.
scene.
Pick one.
Oh, well, technically it happens back to back, so it's technically one scene.
Oh. God damn it. I thought you were referring to the scene. I thought you were referring to the scene where Zoro ripped his shirt off.
That was a good scene. He
Yeah,
ripped
that
and tore
was a
his
good
sleeves
scene,
off.
but
I also thought you were going to go for when Honey Queen has her butt cheeks out to the sun.
that was my second choice.
Can we
Or third, I
also
should
bring
say.
up for a minute, too? She's a devil fruit user, but she was bathing.
Yeah,
Well, from what I
maybe she was bathing in her own water essence.
You didn't refer to it that way.
I don't know. Has it ever really been discussed if they can bathe or not? Like, I always thought it was.
I
I
don't
thought
think
that
so.
like the issue was salt water.
Oh, yeah, good.
There's
point.
another character that has devil fruit powers that has bathe in water, and I think it was fine as long as it's like shallow.
Yeah.
Like, although I've seen in like future color walks where like they go swimming, Luffy's got a inner tube. And
Maybe he just never bothered after he learned that he would never be able to swim. He just didn't.
that Luffy strikes me as the type is like, well, he didn't need to learn it, so he just didn't bother. And then he ate the gum fruit as a kid anyway, so it didn't matter at that point. Plus other reasons I won't get into because they're spoilers for later stuff for Austen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I'd be able to explain it further. Like, yeah, but no, I don't want to ruin that stuff. Okay. I want to break tradition here because I think we're all going to agree. Can we all collectively agree what the worst scene was?
Yes.
Yep.
3, 2,
Usopp.
1. Usopp eating the farts.
Yep.
Yep,
That was.
that is without a doubt the worst scene. And what made it worse was how his stomach bulged and inflated.
Yeah, like this is a special case where I think we can all agree what the worst scene was. That was uniquely terrible.
Yep. That was. I don't think any of us would have been able to come up with anything else aside from that one.
My other one would have been, I brought you here to fight the Trump pirates. Okay, see you. Have fun with the trash compactor from Star Wars.
Like, I don't know. I just that fart scene. It stands out. That was something else.
I must have like looked away from my screen when I was watching that because I legitimately that would have been burned in my brain if I saw that prior. There's no way I remember that scene at all, or I repressed it.
Yeah, like I wouldn't put it past anyone to want to repress it. As soon as this podcast is done recording, I'm going to forget that it ever happened.
Until you listen to the episode later.
And then go, oh no, that scene.
Yeah, it'll just flash forward like I don't know if you ever played Metal Gear Solid 4, like when Snake remembers something from his past, like you press a button and it rapidly comes back like a war flashback, and it'd be like that.
Basically. I'm gonna be like Link in Breath of the Wild when he hits one of his little memory areas, and he just like.
like it's one of those, and you just hear the fart reverb meme, and then it ends. Actually, come to think of it, because I'm in the Nintendo Homebrew chat.
Oh God damn it, John! God damn!
Don't look at me. Blame Discord for making soundboards a thing.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a couple more categories left now. So this one might be easy for everyone. Best fight. What's everyone's favorite fight?
Best fight.
I liked the Zoro fight the second time around with Pinjack when he got his swords back. I thought that was fun.
It's like, that's I got my swords back. Now you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Sanji versus Bojack.
That was gonna be mine.
When he got his shoes back, you mean?
Yeah, because when he got his shoes back, because once he got his shoes, it was basically like Ash Ketchum turning his hat backwards. It's like, oh, now you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I just got to watch him kick Sonic the Hedgehog around. All right, Austen, now you have to pick something else.
Boy, I'm gonna have to go with Luffy versus Bear King. Like, at first, it was hard for him to take on Bear King because of how tough he was, especially with that burning hand, but as soon as he pissed him off by attacking a Keshu, that Luffy's sheer willpower took over. Like, he withstood the intense heat and burns, does still kick his ass. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, you cross Luffy, it's over for you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the reasons he fights you are really fucking stupid, but that was like one of the best ones. It's like you made a child upset. And I guess now we should go with the worst fight. And considering we named most of the fights, can we all just collectively agree? I'm breaking tradition. Can we all agree Nami versus Honey Queen?
Yeah.
Because all she did was run.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even name Usopp versus Skunk one because he just farted in his mouth and then and then in the second fight he just shot him in the ass with the explosives. So what? I wouldn't really consider that a fight, and neither would I Nami versus Honey Queen.
Like, but I have to say that I at least feel like Usopp got a little bit more agency. There was like an actual confrontation rather than trapping someone who was fleeing like an animal. Like, so yeah, I have to agree. I thought Nami's fight was worse.
Yeah, that's why I'm not nominating Usopp for this category.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think let's break tradition for now. Our worst can be, it's pretty obvious what was the worst.
Yep.
Okay, so then our third to last category is review the villainy of the villain, especially compared to previous One Piece villains. How does everybody feel about the villainy of the Bear King and the Trump Pirates?
Extremely bland characters.
Yeah, they were forgettable, and they once they Straw Hats got all their gear and stuff back, they made quick work of them, and one didn't even do anything.
Yeah, she just ran and that got jarred.
So I'll rate these guys a Team Skull out of a Team Rocket.
Excuse me, you just slander Team Skull on my podcast?
I mean, no one treats them seriously in Pokemon either.
That's the fucking point. They're supposed to be lame. And then spoilers for Pokemon Sun and Moon, they actually kind of like redeem themselves in the end. Because Guzma's actually cool.
I'll change him to a Kremlings out of a Team Rocket. If that makes it better.
I was also going to say go with Team Flare. Team Flare out of Team Rocket. Because Team Flare, Team Flare is like kind of like, they're kind of like into eugenics, sort of. So maybe not that one.
Yeah.
But I was trying to think. But like, yeah, they jobbed hard. Like compared, like, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't know if any of you guys remember. I don't remember their motivation. It was just like, we took over an island. Now what?
Now make us a gun.
I think what was really confusing is I thought that the motivation initially was the diamond clock, But it seems like it was there the whole time and they just didn't take it. I don't know. That just
Yeah, and it was in a see-through floor, so it's not like they didn't know it was there.
Yeah, they were pretty pathetic.
Yeah, like
Not to mention the Confucian theme and like, oh, we're themed after the 52 cards, and no, actually we're themed after animals somewhat.
Yeah, and also our powers don't have anything to do with them.
Yeah.
with our animal motifs. Yeah, they didn't have any cohesion or flair. And I guess I could say that I could tell that Oda wasn't really involved in that, because if he does have one talent as a writer, it is coming up with very interesting and memorable villains.
Oh,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
And-
When we get to the later villain movies, you will see that.
Yeah. So like this particular set just felt very, they were just cardboard cutouts to be punched around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I didn't even understand Bear King's powers. Like, it's the stone fruit, but his hand lit on fire.
Yeah, I didn't. It felt like steps were missing, and I don't know if that's maybe because of the length.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in hindsight, you could make the argument that he was doing a certain something that characters later reveal that they can do, Luffy, that I won't tell Austen just yet. Like, I can sort of see an argument for that, but we're judging this as it is when they made it, so lame.
Yeah.
Lame, and also there's no cohesion or consistency with it.
Exactly.
So I'm going to give them... God, what's the worst fucking filler I've seen? Like, I'm going to give them a Jinkaria out of 10. Jinkaria was he was the big bad of the filler arc on Bleach everyone hates.
Okay.
And if you listen to, if you watch Gigaboots, their patrons like to reference Jinkaria constantly because they know how much they hated that arc.
Again.
I never really got into Bleach, but I remember people complaining about that character.
Just don't even bother with that arc. Just don't. From what I've heard, it's just a complete waste of 60 episodes.
That's just too many.
Yeah, Luffy, did you give your thoughts on the villains already, or did you have more to say?
No, I just think that they're very bland. There's really not much more to say about them. They're just not. They're not really cohesive characters.
And that's part of the problem.
Yeah, and I'm now really fixated on like Honey Queen being named Honey Queen and apparently being based on royal jelly and having literally nothing distinctly bee themed to her like outfits or anything. Like, none of you went to the same store. None of you are playing in the same band.
Yeah, she was just there to be fan service. That's literally all she was for. It doesn't help that she was jarred at the end too.
Yep.
Definitely.
All right, so second to last and our last category before we go to our final score. Rate the opening / ending. Well, this had the ending, and honestly, it was the second opening to the anime, which I think is fine. Certainly not high up with the rest of them. And I thought, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did see some upcoming stuff in the series, though.
Yeah. It was just the second season's opening. What can I say about it?
Yeah, and it's definitely not as impactful as some of their later openings. It doesn't have a lot of movement in it. There's a lot of characters, but it's not like Mob Psycho's early openings for season 1 and 2 have just this really beautiful, smooth animation. But I mean, it was a bajillion years ago, so yeah, I will give them some forgiveness there. But
yeah, it has. Yeah. So sorry, were you finished?
No.
It has a beat that I remember, but it's not up there with like the JoJo or early One Piece blaring jazz saxophones that'll stick with me for the rest of my life. It's not JoJo. Like the first JoJo opening, that's in my head for the rest of my life. Like that opening part with the horns, it's burned in your brain forever. It's not anywhere close to that. So I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it a solid 6 out of 10.
Yeah, it didn't leave much of an impression on me. I guess a 5 out of 10.
The only reason it ever will leave an impact on you is if you watch the anime episode to episode, because it's the opening from episode 50 to like 130. I don't know, but around that range. That's the only reason you're going to remember it. Because if you're marathoning the anime, you will remember it. Because you're stuck with it unless you skip the openings.
Yeah. I'm going to also go with like a 5.
Yeah.
Because
it's good.
I know they get better.
Not great, not
later.
bad. It's good. All right, and that brings us to our final. What are we giving it on the fruit score? The movie, One Piece the movie to Clockwork Island Adventure. What is our final score? Just give a summary of our thoughts, and then we're rating it. Luffy, you are our guest. You're going first.
You said it was out of 5 or out of 10?
Honestly, I don't have a hard rule, so I'd say go with 10 or 5. Doesn't matter.
Well, since we did out of 5 for the last question, I am going to say 3 out of 5 for this because it was cute, but it kind of felt more like an episode, probably because of the limited runtime. It didn't really have a chance for me to like get really into the characters, the villains, or anything because it just didn't have enough time. But I think maybe if it had been longer, it might have been better and more interesting. Like, I think that the speed really was a detriment to it.
Yeah.
So I think a 5 score is easier to keep track of. Like I do 10s on my media threads, but like that's because like I'm reviewing all kinds of stuff. So but for this, it's a little bit easier. Austen, your turn.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. Like Luffy said, kind of feels like it was an episode, like a 2-part episode in a filler arc. And while there were some funny scenes and fan service, they gave us some pretty unmemorable characters.
Yeah.
I mean, and even some even worse villains.
Especially Skunk One.
Mm.
Yeah.
Skunk One is like he's like the bottom of the barrel.
Definitely.
Or the bottom of the quarrel, as Pin Joker would say.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than Pin Joker's quirk and unfortunately Skunk One's bit and Honey Queen's buttocks, I'm gonna forget these villains tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it feels like the pacing of it was like really, really fast. But I know it's because they double billed this with Digimon. But I'm judging the product as it is. It's really just passable. I'm gonna go with Austen. I'm gonna go with like 2.5 out of 5. It really was just passable in terms of quality. Yep, I got nothing more to say than that. It's definitely one of the weaker ones, and I imagine these first 3 kind of are that until they start getting the big budget and more of Oda's fingerprints on them. But for now, I just thought this one was okay, and I'm hoping. Yeah. I know the best is yet to come, so it's just getting through all the weird ones first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once the cast starts getting bigger and One Piece starts making even more of an impression in its characterization that can be imitated a lot easier, I think the movies also start getting better.
Especially when Oda gets his fingertips in.
And that too.
Definitely.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our review of One Piece the Movie 2, Clockwork Island Adventure. Thank you all so much for watching, and special thank you to our special guest, Luffy, for joining us.
And thank you for having
it's great to have you on here.
Yeah, you are more than welcome to come by anytime you want. Especially, hell yeah. Yeah, if you want to come on for more movie reviews, you made this a delight.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so
I would love that.
So before we sign off, Luffy, where actually can they find you on social media should anybody want to follow you?
Oh, I don't really have a huge amount of social media at this point, but I am Prince Luffy on Tumblr and Prince Luffy 412 on Twitter.
Excellent. Yeah. And Austen, I think I know we do this every time, but it's fair to like tell everybody where we are. How about you?
Yeah, so I'm a guest. I'm a co-host on What the F Was That, which is a podcast I co-host with our friend Root Beer Goddess, or Rudy as we like to call her. And we review some of the weirdest pieces, most obscure pieces of media we can find. If it's weird and lesser known, chances are we're going to review it. And it doesn't even have to be bad, just downright bizarre. And we are going to be doing it's going to be old by the time this goes up, but we are reviewing the infamous German animated movie Filet Day.
Oh, God.
That's
I remember you said you couldn't make it through that movie.
It's the only movie
I
quit watching because my stomach was churning. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So you didn't make it to the live cat dissection scene, I imagine.
No. Once I saw the thing with the puppet strings, I was done.
Oh, it gets worse after that, John.
And also, Luffy, I think you and I have actually been guests on this podcast on 2 separate occasions.
Yes. I was, at least once, where they did Paprika, and I'd love to do it again in the future. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the movie that Christopher Nolan stole the plot from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I had, it's been a while since I saw the movie, but I'm like, no, Christopher Nolan stole this for Inception.
Mm-hmm.
He did. He basically admitted that it was heavily inspired by it.
Oh, yeah.
Heavily inspired. You guys can't see my quote fingers.
Yes.
And I was on the Christmas tree episode. I recommended it to them, and they're like, hey, John, you want to be on this one? I'm like, oh, God, I have to watch it again, don't I? And, yep. And then also you can find Jad, Peanuts, Austen, as well as myself on Super Bonus Round, which you're probably listening to this episode on. It's the Let's Play channel that I do with my friends, including Jad Peanut. This is going on in October, and I'm pretty sure we're going through our Halloween playthrough. So it's fair to say what we're actually doing right now. We just finished a playthrough of AI the Somnium Files. We may have finished Like a Dragon Ishin, and me and Rich hopefully have finished Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. But my plan, unless they've changed this month, are me and Austin are doing a playthrough of Resident Evil 5 co-op.
Ooh.
I'm trying to see if I can get Rich and Austin to do a playthrough of Luigi's Mansion, since we had to get rid of the old playthrough, because I won't get into the reasons why. Also, Alan Wake 2 is coming out soon. Me and Rich have to do that because we did the first one together. I don't know what else is up, but also we also plan on doing Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, when that comes out in November. And yeah, I can't speak too much because we're recording this way ahead. Our plans could suddenly change. And also, if you want to see more from me, I also stream on Twitch. I'm MugiwaraJM, all one word. I largely stream JRPGs or stuff in my backlog. I'm probably still on my Final Fantasy marathon. As I'm recording this, I haven't even started 3 yet. I'm probably on 6 by the time you guys are listening to this. And during Halloween, I like to play the Resident Evil games. My favorite game of all time, Medieval, which is going to be a little bit somber this year because it was my dad's favorite too. And yeah, so check me out on Twitch and check out all of our wonderful people on this podcast out. And don't forget to support us at Patreon too if you're able. All right, so thank you guys again so much for listening. We'll see you guys for the next episode where Austin and I are going to cover One Piece, the first television special, Adventure in the Ocean's Naval. And then we'll start the Baroque Work saga in episode 23. But I'm probably getting the numbers wrong too, because the One Piece Netflix show is coming out in August. We might be doing special reviews of that too. So that might throw my episode count out of order. All right, thank you guys again so much for listening. And remember, I'll just redo this outro. And for the Binging the Devil's Fruit, I've been John MugiwaraJM.
I've been Jad Peanut.
And I've been Luffy.
And remember, when binging the devil's fruit, it's always better to take your time consuming it. Otherwise, you won't be able to enjoy it and you might choke. All right, have a good one, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for binging the devil's fruit with us today. If you'd like to enhance your binging experience even further, for just $3 a month, not only do you get access to episodes 1 week before they go live for the public, you also get exclusive access to our commentary tracks for our One Piece anime movie special reviews on our Patreon. The review episodes themselves will always be free to all listeners, but if you want the commentary tracks, that's patreon.com/superbonusround. Thanks for your support.